Right. Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Soche. I am the founder of FBA Insiders. And this is our fourth year, I think, doing this Retail Arbitrage Q4 group. So I'm like super excited about it. I have the lovely Victoria and Meghan with me as our moderators and our Retail Arbitrage experts. They've been helping us post deals and dropping some awesome content over the past few years. So excited to get into Q4 talk. You know, it's crazy. It's been a super long year, I think, for everyone, right? Like, I think we all thought that COVID would have been come and gone, and it's still here, and we're all dealing with the effects of it, and global supply chain issues and all kinds of stuff. But tonight we're going to talk about what this group is and the 200 leads that you get per month plus $3,000 in retail arbitrage training. So we're going to dig into all of that. So let's just start with the basics. Retail arbitrage, simple, not easy. But whenever you are starting out doing retail arbitrage, sometimes you go in and you leave with an empty cart. Meghan, Victoria, has that ever happened to y'all? You get skunked when you go out?
A little bit.
Not very fun. And so that's why we have people like Victoria, Meghan, and other experts in the group, so that ideally you don't walk away without an empty cart. But retail arbitrage is for sure the fastest way to make money on Amazon. I've coached a lot of people, and they talk about, oh, should I do wholesale or private label or arbitrage? And I'm like, well, what's your goals, right? You're trying to just that quick flip, because retail arbitrage is definitely that. And a lot of people come out of the woodworks. Like, I do wholesale, but I still come out of the woodworks for Q4 and do some retail arbitrage just because it's so fast. So how many Q4s is this for everyone? I think this is my sixth Q4. How about you,
Maybe
Victoria?
My fourth.
Meghan?
Yeah. This is my third, and the last two I have been with you guys.
Okay, awesome. What does the chat say in here? Let's see if I could see that. Can y'all see the chat on the screen?
We have Rolanda says second.
Awesome. Great.
Third, sixth.
Okay.
Angie, sixth. Angie, I think you and I, we got started. I remember meeting Angie at, David saying it's his sixth. I think I met Angie at a Jim Cochran conference, if I remember right. That many years ago. So I assume if you're here, you're probably practicing retail arbitrage, especially if this is your, at least your second Q4. But if you're not, if you're brand new, welcome. And do you merchant fulfill? Oh, come back out. There we are. Do you merchant fulfill? How many of you are currently merchant fulfilling and shipping to customers? Victoria, I know you do.
I do a ton. I mean, over the weekend, I'll probably have anywhere from 150 to 250 orders to get out on Monday. It's usually 30 to 50 a day. That'll double or triple in Q4. That's Q1 through 3. But I do a lot of merchant.
So we'll circle back around to that, because that sounds overwhelming for people that have never done it before. To make sure you have all your supplies and how fast you can get them out the door and all that stuff. So Meghan, what about you? Are you doing much of it?
I do about 25 to 30 orders a day as well. Especially when they changed, when you had the option to set your handling time from 2 days down to 1. I just became a lot more competitive with the FBA buy box. And so we're pushing, I list it first on merchant fulfilled, and it's getting out faster. And so it works for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's going to be a huge strategy, as not only do we have like a global supply chain issue, and we'll talk about, supply as we move forward. And it's like, some people are already experiencing empty shelves in toy stores and things like that, or on the toy shelves. And so we're going to definitely discuss that. But then also just FBA and just logistics in general, check-in times at Amazon. If you're not currently doing merchant fulfilled, it used to be, I believe the date probably 2 weeks before Christmas, I would ship inventory in. This was probably 2-3 years ago. I would ship inventory into Amazon and expect it to get there on time, like right at, 3 days before Christmas, right? It's really pushing it. Now I wouldn't do anywhere but 4 weeks. I'm looking, what I'm seeing on average is 4-week check-in times right now. Is that about what y'all are seeing? Or close?
I'm super fortunate to live like I'm just not a good example for that because I live about 8 miles from a warehouse. And so I'm still getting 48 hours.
That's awesome. Now I know, so there's either that scenario or if you ship full truckloads of inventory, if you're sending in full trucks, you can also get checked in that fast, but not many people are doing that retail arbitrage. So what about you, Megan? What's your check-in times? Where are you sitting at?
So most of my stuff, right, that's not oversized goes down to Charlotte, and I'm in Northern Virginia. So I can see it checked in about 4 days. If I have to do a, fulfillment center transfer, that takes longer, obviously, because then it gets sent everywhere else. And so what I found last year is for Q4 is I sent everything out that I sold or that I bought for Black Friday weekend. And then after that, we flipped to merchant fulfilled because we just couldn't get that stuff in. Like I shipped it didn't show up in time. So we had a really great January. But the stuff that I shipped in the first week of December didn't make it to the centers in time to be there by Christmas.
Yeah. And I would expect this year to be just as rough as last year in terms of those check-in times.
Yeah.
All right, so this is what we're going to be chatting about tonight: retail arbitrage, online arbitrage strategies. We're already really digging into it. Q4 COVID strategies, common mistakes, how you can make some extra income. We always, those credit card points and things are always nice to have. Free Starbucks if you're doing Starbucks. And we'll have some Q&A at the end, but feel free, please, to post your questions as we're chatting, and we will be happy to answer them. I'm going to move some things around here on my screen. Uh-oh. I just missed a slide. So what is our retail arbitrage group? You can connect to our team of expert sellers inside the group on where we shop and what we buy, and we teach you what we know. So a lot of people, they'll ask before jumping into the group, people want to know why. Well, you're getting to hang out with people that are doing 7 figures on Amazon currently, and they basically teach you everything that they know for the most part, right? Within reason. And they're answering all of your questions. People like Victoria, Meghan, myself, and others are in there. So we actually have Angie watching right now, but Angie is one of our deal posters, Jennifer English, Meghan, Tony, Victoria, and myself. So we don't all post the leads necessarily. I'm still not doing that. However, we're all your experts, right? So I call myself the $300 kid. I started doing retail arbitrage for $300 almost 7 years ago now. It's crazy. And today I run a 25,000 square foot warehouse where we're doing prep and ship for others, as well as wholesale and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. So it's scaled in a little bit different way. But Victoria, you've never gone outside of RA. You've just stayed in that lane. And
yeah, I love it. I mean, it's so lucrative. And, I live in a city where, I have 17 targets within 30 miles, I mean, I have access to all of it. And, I would love to get into wholesale and I would love to join in that. And then, it's like, well, then Target has this sale. So, okay, I'll do it next week. And then, oh, well, Valentine's Day is coming up and, oh, okay, let me get these stuffed animals in quick and then I'll do it, and it's always something. And then I turn around and it's Q4 again. So maybe next year again, maybe next year.
Yeah. I mean, look, as long as it's working, right? I think that's kind of the thing. It's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And if you enjoy it, that's definitely the key. So, and, unlike many that tend to scale out and hire a bunch of people, Victoria, you've really just dialed in what you do, which is one thing I really admire about you, is like, you never felt this need to like go and hire a ton of shoppers, which can definitely be like, I went that route and it can be really profitable, but it can also, it's just a whole nother level of headache as well of doing all of that. Yeah. So Meghan, tell us your story. How did you start out and end up here?
It was a January, and there was an article in the Washington Post about a couple that I think we all know about, the Flipping Profits people, right? Does everyone remember them? And I looked at my husband and I said, well, I never like to pay for shipping, and I never like to pay full price. And so we went out and did our homework on what it was going to look like. We both work corporate full-time jobs. So we have stuck to RA and OA. We just don't have the bandwidth to be able to go into wholesale or have to go rent a space. And we have done it all in-house as well. So I haven't hired shoppers or anything, mostly because we are negotiating, daytime corporate jobs. And then we have small children at home. And so we've really been able to grow our business year after year. I came to FBA Insiders first as a paying member because I needed help thinking outside of the box, right? How do I target these stores? How do I get ungated in some of these categories, right? How do I troubleshoot? And then I believe I joined about 2 years ago as the team posting full-time and driving content. So
Awesome.
Right now we use this to help offset bills and save for college. But I do have visions of leaving my corporate job and shopping full-time soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and I think, amongst the three of us, there's already big, very different stories. And I'm sure just in the people that are watching right now, everybody has this different story that they come to the table with. But, we're all after the same thing, right? Just making money as quickly as we can with this method. I mean, and so our mission is to help Amazon sellers increase their sales as quickly as possible. And so, like Meghan mentioned, she came to us as a paying member, and then we were like, hey, she's an all-star. Let's bring her in on the inner fold and have her help us out and help others out, And so we provide that information and support to save you time and increase your profits. The reality is we're not all here for our health, right? We're here because we want to make money, and that money turns into whatever it is, that we're imagining that money will get us, right? Freedom of time, freedom of choice to do what we want, when we want, whether that's spend time with our kids or go to the park at, 2:00 in the afternoon and not have to ask somebody if we want to do that. And so whatever your why is, this is why we exist, but everybody comes to the table with their why. And this is kind of, backing that up. We believe in helping others, giving back, abundance, mom and dad's coming home, and then freedom of time. And so I'm one of those dads where I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, 2 little girls. And when we were pregnant with my first kid, I was like, man, how cool would it be if I had a job where I could just work from home? And this was before all the corporate world finally, because of COVID, right? It's like all of corporate's like, oh, you don't have to come to the office anymore. It's like, we didn't have to come to the office in the first place. That's a different conversation. But now, like when I was starting out, it was not a normal thing to just, create a job that you could work from your house. So with Retail Arbitrage, you can be a vagabond and travel the country and just make a bunch of money seeing the sights. You could do all kinds of things with it. And yeah, so I'm curious if you have your why already figured out. I'd love to hear it in the comments. Those are always really, really good to hear. All right, so our group, how do we actually save you time and increase your profits? So one of the biggest things that we do is we provide 200 leads a month from big box retail stores and some smaller subsequent ones. I guess Walgreens would probably be one of the smaller ones, but that's still you can make a lot of money from Walgreens. But these are our stats, average stat, 114% return on investment, $13 profit, and then 210 leads per month. And if you've been around FBA Insiders for a while, you know that we actually never stop the Q4 group in the past. We just keep rolling into Q1, Q2, Q3, and then here comes Q4 again. And so we actually have been stacking like tons and tons, really thousands of leads. We actually have over 9,000 leads available that we've backlogged. Now, if you didn't even like, if all you did was just join and you didn't touch anything, all you did was you went to that old list of 9,000 leads, I can only imagine how much money that you would be able to scoop up. If you just went back, even you don't even have to leave your couch. You could just, reverse source all those and do some online arbitrage.
I did that last week. I went to our November and December month that we had last year, and I just sat and clicked through all the things. I made my shopping list. I did some OA, and I ordered like maybe 120 products. So
awesome.
Different products. I mean, more of each, but 120 different items. So yeah.
So let's just do some math really quick. 120 items. Let's just say it was $5 profit, which I'm sure you were a lot more than that. That's, $600, right? Like just from kind of goofing off in profit. More than likely it was probably closer to $10 profit on those. But this is one of the things that we teach here. This is, I can't remember the person that posted this, but they said, it just blew up so-and-so with my excitement, with my messages of excitement, my first load of insiders and adjacencies. So what they're talking about there are the products. So this is probably one of the biggest questions we get asked is, we post a lead, let's say it's a Marvel action figure at Walmart. Okay. So we post a lead and then you go to Walmart looking for that exact same thing. Well, it would behoove you to scan that whole section, right, of all the Marvel action figures. And that's those adjacencies. That's where that comes in play, where you get one lead and then it turns into 20, 30, 40 different, variations products. I'll never forget whenever I first got started and somebody posted a lead. I think it was Crocs at Marshall's. And it was just like one color, one size. And then I went to Marshall's and there's just a wall of Crocs. And I think I spent just like $1,000 right there on Crocs, but it would be really silly if I was just like, oh, let me just find the one size pair, whatever. Same thing I did with, boots and pants and different things that have been posted at these stores. So that's why we post all those leads. Let's keep rocking and rolling. What does a lead look like? This is how it used to look. So I think probably Meghan, when you joined, we didn't have the dashboard. We just were doing this, right? Posting these leads. And so the old way, and Facebook is forever changing their algorithms and how they do things. But the old way we used to do it was we would do a hashtag, right? So you see that hashtag at the top, TJ Maxx Marshalls, and then we put the title of the product, ASIN, and then those numbers in line right there. So we have $19.99, that's our buy cost, $54.99 sale price, $17.06, that's our profit after FBA fees. So we still post everything as we are sending it in FBA, okay? And then the ROI is 85% with the Amazon URL right there. So that's how we used to post it on Facebook. And then we developed this really snazzy dashboard on our website to where you can walk into any store that we've posted the leads for, Five Below, Academy, Walmart, Target, whatever. And you can choose that store. And if you want to be really specific, you can even say, hey, I only want to look at the things that cost $100 or more, or $25 to $50 or something like that. Or you can just select the store and then you walk in and then you see all the leads that have been posted for that store. And then you start your shopping. Or if you want, you can look at a spreadsheet of all the leads before you go out and you can make a buy list and do that. Now, what we're actually doing this Q4 moving forward is we're actually going to go back and start doing this again. And this is really new information for everyone. But the reason we're doing that is because one of the things we found when these leads are being posted in the group is all the conversation that would happen. And Victoria and Meghan, you'll talk about this a little bit of like, because, well, Victoria, I'll start with you. You post a lead and somebody says, hey, I looked at this lead and the keep it chart is like way whack, like, why would you buy this? And then Victoria gets to explain. So let's talk a little bit about rank and leads, because that's, again, another hot topic in terms of retail arbitrage leads.
Sure.
So go ahead.
I used to only look at rank when I first started, and I was super stringent about it. It was like, $100,000 or 100,000 in toys or less, or, in books, I would do, 500,000 or less, and pet supplies had to be 3,000. I mean, just unreasonable, expectations, and I would come out with nothing. And then, actually with the help of Paul, kind of went through and I learned how to read a keep a chart. I learned what was going on, and I would go back and, okay, so it's, has a rank of 542 in toys right now. Okay, no big deal. I'll pull up Keepa and I can see that, well, it sells amazing, but it's been out of stock for, 2 months and it's plummeted. There's just not been any available. Or let's say, for instance, it happens to be a seasonal item and, sure, it's 550K rank right now, but then you go and you see in the beginning of Christmas or November, the holiday season, it flies off the shelf, I mean, so it generates that kind of conversation and gets you more comfortable with Keepa, but just also gets you first in. There's a lot of benefits to posting them into the Facebook group and having conversations about it. And it just, practice makes perfect. I mean, the more you practice, the more you look at it, the more you do it, the easier you can pull up a chart and be like, yep, nope, yep. And I don't even look at rank anymore.
Yeah. And so everything that you're talking about, I mean, I can only imagine, and I know I did this whenever I was starting out. It's like, I just walked over money and I had no idea I was doing it, right? I'd look at the last 3 months of the Keep a Chart. I'm like, no rank, I'm not touching it. Or super high rank, I'm not touching it. Well, in reality, if I'm looking at the Keep a Chart and I see 3 months and I go back a year, I can go, oh man, it was out of stock for like 6 months. That's why. Yeah. But when it was in stock, it was rolling, and so that gives you the confidence. And so, it's super helpful to know, okay, what's inside Victoria's brain? What's inside Meghan's brain? And why are they buying this thing that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, and those things are really helpful. One other really big misconception about retail arbitrage leads compared to online arbitrage leads, very different, right? And the reason they're different is because with an OA list, which we do have available, and we sell those, big difference in that is it's going to 30, 40 people or more, depending, not on our list, but on others' lists. So you get this massive amount of people that are looking at .com. And it's like fastest to the punch, who can get there and click the .com the fastest. Whereas with this, it's so different, right? Not everyone is going to go to Marshall's and find the same thing. Not everyone's going to go to Target because it's a shelf, right? It could be out of stock, it could be missed, or it could also be online, right? Where you can reverse source it. Maybe it's out of stock and you can go, it's out of stock at your store, but you can go online and get it. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this. But one of the questions that a lot of people ask, because we cap our group at 100 people, is, man, that's 200 leads, 200 people, that's not that much. Well, the reality is, between the adjacencies and the fact that, I don't have 17 targets in my city. So I might not even source at a Target, right? Maybe Meghan just strictly goes to Walgreens and nothing else, right? Or something like that.
I don't go to Walmart.
She does go to Walmart. So she's not going to touch the Walmart lead. Everybody's going to have their own flavor of how they treat these things, right? And I would encourage you to use them in all forms, in all ways, right? Like, so go to the store and find it. If you can't find it in the store, do it OA. So I'm excited to gear this back up and get that conversation going again. Hopefully Facebook does not get all goofy with their algorithms of what they show everybody and all that, but we'll do our best. And then we have some other extra surprises that we'll talk about down there. All right, so Target and Walmart category profit. So let's see here. Yeah. All right, so we've got, let's see, this is Target. Was this your sales, Victoria?
Yep.
These are yours. Yeah, so this is just this is in 2019. And you did what, same or more numbers this past year?
Oh, much more.
Probably. Yeah. So, and remember guys, Victoria is a one woman show. So just from Target, she sold 1,615 items for a profit of 12,197 at a 50% ROI. Walmart, profit of 23,000, same time frame. So in a quarter, 71%. So if you're one of the naysayers going, hey, big box stores, Target, Walmart, no go, there's no money there, they're oversaturated, Victoria says you're wrong. And then here's some category profits here. So toy, grocery, apparel, and man, that's a lot of profit there at the end. So 47,000 in toy, that's awesome. 29,000 in grocery, and then 17,000 in apparel. This is over 1 quarter, guys. 1 quarter. I'm going to do some quick math and just add that up. So we got 47 plus 29 plus 17. That's $93,000 in profit in 3 months. That is cuckoo. I'm sure a lot of people would love to earn that in a year, much less 3 months. And so was this work? Absolutely. But the reality is Victoria and Meghan and our other experts, they know how to go and find these things and stay profitable. And, you know, every year there's new challenges, but, you know, there's always still things out there to purchase. So RA strategy, and Meghan, I'll get your thoughts on this. Meghan, do you reverse source RA, OA back and forth, or do you mostly do RA?
Oh, I reverse source all the time.
Awesome.
You know, we talk about some of our fails. I will be honest with the group. I am one that's had their Target online account banned. So I can't actually shop on Target online, but it doesn't mean that I don't take a Target lead that, you know, one of my colleagues has posted and then go reverse source it to find it at the Walmart or Walgreens or Bed Bath & Beyond or Bye Bye Baby. And so my first reaction is to always try and find it on OA so I can order it and have it delivered to the house. Normally I can take advantage of cash back and a lot of other perks, and that way I don't ever have to leave. But I always start with reverse sourcing. And then if I go into the store, I definitely have a buy list that says this is what we're looking for. And my husband and I will divide and conquer, and he'll take the north side Targets and I'll take the south side Targets, for example.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so the RA strategy, you can use the leads list as a shopping list. That's kind of what I was talking about with the dashboard. You can kind of walk in and start your sourcing. And definitely if you have a partner to divide and conquer with, like that's perfect. Or if you have an army of shoppers. But if it is just you know, it's still great to have these shopping lists. Use leads as new ideas for new stores, new categories, similar items. Great example is shoes and clothes. For me, for the longest time, I was deathly afraid of shoes and clothes, mainly because of all the variations, right? And in today's landscape, Amazon didn't always have it set where the variations all fed into the same sales rank, right? So you look at a listing, they have 10 variations and the sales rank is like 3,000 in, I don't know, let's say 3,000 clothing. That would be stupid low. But if something, maybe it has 100 variations and it's that ranking in shoes and clothes. How do you know which one sells? You know, how do you figure out which variation is going to do well? Like the off color, the off size, and things like that. So it is really helpful to see, you know, okay, what are people buying, and how do you figure those things out, whether that be a new category or a new store. And sometimes, you know, like with new stores, maybe you walked into, let's say, a Kohl's, and you tried it a few times and it never really worked out for you. You were like, you know, I can go to this store, you know, to Walmart, and you know, in a much shorter amount of time, make just as much money. Well, maybe you just need a little bit more information before walking into Kohl's to really take advantage of it. You're like, oh man, the light bulb goes off, and now all of a sudden, Kohl's is generating, you know, $10,000 a month for you. So that's awesome. And then the OA strategy. search for the item online, run the leads list through Tactical Arbitrage. You could definitely do that with our list. Search at different stores, right? So if it's out of stock at Walmart, maybe it's in stock at Target, right? Use the leads as ideas, follow the rabbit trails, and then find replens. I mean, replens are beautiful, beautiful. All right, so all of this, if you join our group, all of this comes with the group, right? So Victoria did our, I can't remember the exact name that we called it. It's not Target Sourcing Secrets, but that's pretty much what it is, right? Do you remember?
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact title, but expert target tips, Walmart sourcing secrets, sourcing shoes and clothes. Ooh, I pressed the wrong button. There we are. Sourcing shoes and clothes with confidence, cash flow tips, toy and gating, live sourcing videos, sales, coupon alerts, store specific tips, keep it training videos. And we're constantly posting, again, like with the leads, just as we post the leads, conversation happens, tips come out about source, using Keepa. Maybe there's a toy brand that's posted and you're like, hey, how do I get engaged for this toy? If we have that information, we're going to be sharing that. And while we're on the topic of toys, Victoria, you are like the toy queen. Tell me, and I love your response. Yeah, I already know what she's going to say, guys, but I love her response to this question. So tell me what it is that, like, how are you dealing with all of the toy issues right now? Everybody's freaking out. They're getting these, it's slipping my mind. What is the
safety docs?
There it is. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
It's been a long week. Safety docs. And so some people freak out over that, right? What do you do with your safety docs?
I completely ignore them. Like I used to like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then I emailed the companies and I went back and forth and I've spent hours and hours and hours on it. And now it's just, they don't hurt your account at all. The worst thing that would happen is the listing gets deleted and you have to recall your stuff. Okay, you still get your stuff. You can flip it on eBay. You can wait the 8 to 10 days before someone else makes a new listing of the exact same thing with a GTN or something like that. And then I personally never recall my stuff. Even if the listing's been deleted, I will keep it there for 10 days to 2 weeks, because more times than not, the listing just magically appears again. The same listing, say ASIN, all the stuff that was in my stranded inventory now shows back up, and I'm there with like 2 other people, and I can charge whatever I want, and people are looking for it now because they couldn't find it for the last week, so I just ignore them, which is that's great. I wouldn't recommend ignoring most things from Amazon, but this one I would ignore.
Right. And it's because they need the documentation, somebody provides it, and then it gets listed live again. So if you get all concerned and you pull your inventory really quickly, well then the listing goes live, then you're missing out. And I know some people that are like, I'm not sourcing toys anymore, because of these safety docs. And it's like, with every little move that Amazon does, some people go, I'm not going to do this anymore. And other people like Victoria say, you know what? It's still viable. Let's just jump the hurdle and figure it out. And it just so happens with this hurdle, you can just ignore it, which is really nice. But that is super important, especially moving into Q4, because toys are the biggest thing, right? Typically. So how do we source, and scan when we're in stores? There's a lot of different ways to go about doing it. You can just scan the product with a barcode, right? So these are Brock's Candy Corn Classics. So you can see only 3 listings showed up whenever the barcode was scanned, or you could title search. So Brock's Candy Corn 22, that shows a lot more listings. The specific one here, that's Pantry, so we wouldn't sell that anyways. But we got this one down here. And then these are 2 different apps, Scan Power and Scoutify, that are showing you different ranks. So let's see here. This one right here on Scan Power, that looks like a really good one, that 109,000. So tell me, ladies, what scanning app are you using? And what are you bouncing in and out of? Are you using Scoutify, bouncing back to Seller Central? Do you exclusively use that? What apps are you using today?
So I use Scoutify. And then of course I'll check Seller Central, right, to see if we're ungated or try to get auto approval. I actually will go into the Amazon app itself, right, like where you would make a purchase. And I actually search in there because I find it gives me more. And now the listings all include the ASIN now. So I can just go copy and paste the ASIN from the listing back into Scoutify to go run my financials. I find
Awesome.
that, and one of the things that I learned from this group is that scanning the barcode only will get you about 50%. And that's why I was leaving the stores with nothing. And one of the things I learned from Victoria's Target tips was word search. And so when I started taking the time to word search, right, and it's time consuming, but you know, if you're going to source, you need to set aside a couple of hours. You really want to be successful. You know, my business just took off, and Victoria and I were trading leads again this morning, just the two of us. And it was all things that I was coming up by just typing it in. It wouldn't have come up if I typed the UPC code.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then by typing in, you find the bundles. I mean, you're not you'll find a multi-pack maybe here and there by barcode scanning, but you're never going to find a bundle. And, you know, bundles are made by people that, you know, it's something adjacent or something relatively that you could get fairly easily. You know, like you have popcorn with the popcorn butter oil stuff, you know, that's not going to come up on a barcode, but it will come up if you do Jiffy popcorn, so many ounces.
Yeah. And that's that art and science, right? Of like knowing what to type in. And for me, I always found that less is more when you're typing it in, right? So like, instead of trying to like really spell it all out, you know, to just do like, you could type in Brock's candy corn bundle, or just Brock's bundle, or just candy corn, you know, Brock's candy corn, whatever. And you play around with that and see what you can find, because it's all keyword searches, right? And so those bundles,
right?
Yeah, I mean, that's where you can really increase your ROI a ton. And again, it's kind of, you know, the question, I think the $1 million question is, well, how do you know when to type it in, right? I don't know. It seems fairly ambiguous in my mind, but do y'all have any answer for that? How do you know when to type it in? Is it gut? Is it feel? Is it you scan something and you're like, I know this brand is really good and I've seen it on Amazon, like Paw Patrol or something like that?
I usually, if I scan it and there's only one listing that comes up, you know, like Brock candy corn, 22 ounces, single pack in terms of grocery, well, you know that Brock is on Amazon far more than just this one single pack. So, you know, if scanning it only comes up with one option, I'll type it in or I'll picture it or something like that. I'll go further.
Right. Good. So yeah, grocery is for sure going to have way more multi-packs, bundles, whatever. What about, I mean, like clothes, you're not really going to see that, right? You're not going to see
clothes. I always barcode scan because I want to make sure that it's exactly the thing, because you can't really tell on a phone, you know, is that navy, is that aqua, or, you know, I mean, I want to make sure it's the same. So clothes are the only thing, if it doesn't scan, I put it back.
And here's one thing with clothes that I will do is if I'm scanning, I used to do this with union suits that I bought from Walmart. And if I'm scanning, all I need is one barcode to scan to find that master listing. And then I find all the other variations, right? I remember I did this with these Elmo union suits. If you know what a union suit is, it's just like from the feet to the head, right? This big fluffy thing. And I remember I found one, and there was like the small that scanned, but then all the other sizes were out of stock. And so I literally bought like 4 carts of union suits from Walmart, just like stuffed them in there. And all the variations were together and all that fun stuff. And so like, but it was because I knew that they were on there, but title searching clothes is just about near impossible. And I highly don't, you know, definitely don't suggest it. But toys are one of those things, like the, all these little mini mystery toys that they have now. You know, you'll find everywhere from a 2-pack to a 24-pack, 48-pack to bundles, right? Of like all these different things. And so Yeah,
If it doesn't,
go ahead.
Well, if it doesn't scan at all, I definitely go and type it in.
Absolutely.
Right. And Lego is one that I if it didn't scan in, I'm like, well, I don't know how they do it, but someone got a G10 exemption, right? And so it's not coming up, right? And I always type in those big lots. I find I have to type in a lot too, right? Those sort of people like that stuff, but they're not super name brand. So if it doesn't scan, I definitely type in to start from there. And I was at our Disney outlet store closed. It's one of those stores that closed. And Paul, to your point, all I had to do was find one Elsa costume that scanned, and then I found the rest of them. Yep. And I was able to clear out the store. And it was the only thing that was left.
And the thing with that is because you had to go that extra mile. By the extra mile, I mean the extra 30 seconds or minute that it took you to find that so many other people aren't going to do, right? They're just going to scan that out, it's not on there, keep going, right? Whereas you scan and you're like gold mine, right? Like it's there. And so it's not just this new method to find things. It's also going to protect you from price erosion, right? That's probably one of the biggest things that I love about it is that prices don't tank near as fast versus if it's like Black Friday deal, every Walmart has 100 of them and everybody goes and buys them. And the listing goes from like 3 sellers to 300 sellers in a week. And now everybody just wants to get whatever money they can back out of the item. And they're all losing money. So yeah, this is definitely a really good method. And again, not that you don't buy things that you just scan and find, right? That's still something that you do, but going this extra mile for sure helps. So let me stay right here for a second. We got a couple questions. Valerie asked, any tips on toys to look for this year? We haven't done well with toys in the past, but looking at supply chain issues seems like it would be good to do some RA on toys, but no clue where to start. So I guess it sounds like Valerie's asking like, what's the hot toy this year? There typically is one, but I don't know. Is there a hot toy this year? Is there anything to be looking for, or just toys in general?
Yeah, it's so weird because, you know, every other year I look at the movies that come out and kind of gear my toy buying to, you know, whatever movie happens to be out and jogging kids' memory and stuff like that. But that Marvel Shanghai movie, they just now released it. And I mean, you can go to Target and they've dumped all their Shanghai toys that were out because they've been out for a year, you know? So it's different this year. I'm looking at classics like Jurassic World always sells, games always sells. You know, princesses and, you know, Barbies always sell. So I'm staying within those. I'm watching the new toys. You know, my kids, I have 2 boys. I don't know anything about girl toys other than Barbies, but my 2 boys will watch toy reveals on YouTube constantly, and I'll sit and watch with them. And, you know, if they think it's cool, then I'll go investigate it further. I'm, you know, thank God I'm a woman, but I creeper in the aisles, you know, like in the Walmart aisles. I just like kind of stand there and watch kids come in and see what they pick up, you know? Like if I was a guy, like that would be kind of weird, right?
Yeah, I'm going to prison if I do that. Jeez.
I know, but I do. I watch what they pick up, or you don't even have to watch what they pick up. But if you walk down an aisle and there's that one toy that is perfectly placed on that aisle and everything else is a mess, don't touch that toy. Kids are not touching that toy. They don't care about that toy, you know, move on. So if it's completely disheveled and you're finding pieces of the toy everywhere in the aisles, look for that toy. Or if you're in a girl aisle and you see a Star Wars item or a clearly boy item in the girl, some kid picked that up and their mom said no, but they wanted it and they carried it through some aisles, you know, and you just got to look for clues like that.
That is very intuitive, Victoria. I think that's so funny to think about. Like, I mean, like your boys are like, they're doing your insider dirty work for you, right? Like they're getting you that information, but then like just being observant of those things. And it's not that it's going to necessarily be a win, but it's just, okay, where do I start? And that's kind of, you use leads as well. Megan, were you about to say something?
Yeah. So to kind of approach that from a different angle, right? Not sure where she was coming from, but there's not a lot on the shelves these days. And so what I have found, right, with our schedule is I was normally going out after my corporate job. Normally I would be at Target right now, to go hit the stores, and there would be nothing left by the end of the day. So we've pivoted that I will start going out and being there when the Target opens, right? And the Mattel people are already there setting the shelves up. And so there's more variety on the shelves to be able to take things home. That's the first thing. The second thing, and I can't remember who was it that taught me, but all the barcodes, right, scan right in front of the Target toys. So even if the toy's not there, you just have to scan the barcode. So you may not be able to buy it at that store, but you could buy it. You could put it in your buy list for the next Target you're going to go to if you've got 4 or 5 on your list that day. So I do that. And then Target will always post, and I'm a Target toy because my Walmarts just don't stock anything, right? It's just a regional thing for me, and I've tried, and it's just not worth the gas money to get there. But Target will post their ad Friday or Saturday, well, definitely Saturday, but maybe even as early as Friday. And so on Saturday, I will go through the Target toy ad for the following week and find out what's going to be on sale. So I will catch those toys that Amazon might already be on, that's got a great rank, but if you buy it full price, you make nothing. But if it's 50% off or buy one, get one, right? All of a sudden you can make profit off of that. And I will build a list and I will spend the week hitting all the targets. And that's how I hit the toys.
Awesome. That is,
Target.
Yeah. And that's a phenomenal strategy. I mean, super, super helpful. I hope everybody's paying attention because what y'all are, that's some gold stuff there that y'all are sharing about those tips of how to find things. So let's talk some strategies here. And I'm going to get to everybody's questions in a minute. We are at 6:50, and so we got a few more slides to roll through. Definitely, we're going to be having shortages this year. If you've been living under a rock, I apologize for informing you, but there is a global supply chain issue across every category of product. I don't care if it's building supplies or toys or clothes or whatever. Just factories overseas have been shut down, and getting things into our country have been slower, and just everything's backed up in general, just getting shipping containers, all those things. So we are going to see for the first time, I think, bare shelves, and I was at the Target actually, just personally, doing some grocery shopping and stuff. And I was noticing that they were, fronting the toys, but if you look behind the toy, there's nothing behind it, right? Like they were trying to make the shelf look full, but it wasn't full. And I was like, oh man, like it's already kind of starting, and so I'm curious to see what's going to happen once Black Friday hits. And I think there's a lot of, there's some different projections, but what do y'all think? What's your your 2 cents on Black Friday happens, or, that week happens, the sales happen, and then what's going to happen after that?
I think after that, people will have no choice. Even the people that don't shop online will have to go online. And I'm kind of risky in what I do. I mean, I picked something up. It's a particular advent calendar. I told Megan, I was like, it's not on there yet, but it's going to be good. So just grab it, But I'm going to hold my prices. I'm not bailing out early. I'm not getting scared. Because the people will come this year like never before. I strongly believe that.
Yeah. I totally agree. And that's a really positive way to look at it, in the sense of, the one way to say it is, there's not going to be anything to buy, right? There's not going to be anything available on the shelves. But the other is the inventory that you do have, right? If the consumers have nothing to buy on the shelf, they are going to have to go online. And so online shopping will only increase even more. And like you're saying, prices will hopefully hold, given the item and the scarcity of it and all those things. So Megan, what's your thoughts? I
think we are going to see shelves somewhat cleared out, but I think that it forces us to lean in and kind of expand our field about what we're sourcing from, right? And so that's what every week that I go and I post leads for our group, right? I try and go figure out another store that maybe I would have never thought of before, or that I don't generally shop in, right? For my Amazon business, be able to kind of say, here's how you kind of cast this net a little bit wider. And every year I come up with something different, like, oh, I didn't realize you should sell that online, right? And I'm still learning this. So, you know, there's the big stores that we all go to, and then there's all those other stores, right? We have this really great child's toy store, right? That's locally owned, that has massive Legos. I've never gone in there to source Legos before, right? To find those things that Amazon doesn't sell. So I'm thinking about those sorts of things, you know, the white label products like Old Navy and Victoria's Secret and Trader Joe's, right? Those things that you were like, oh, no one ever sells it. Well, yeah, there's a whole market to sell that stuff. So I'm trying to cast that net wider as well. I'm with Victoria. I'm really watching, you know, price tanking. And so I'll buy something now, and I think that having a buddy or a set of buddies, right, to refer back to that says, hey, what do we think that this is going to do? I think that's a super invaluable tool. It's one of the reasons I love FBA insiders, right? Tony Barnes taught me how to read Keepa. Victoria taught me how to manage my cash flow, right? You taught me about auto repricing. And so I think that I'm going to hold my prices too, right? I'm not going to, because come that first week of December, there's not going to be anything left.
There's going to be nothing.
There's not going to be anything.
Yeah.
So if you have the cash.
And even moving, I would say post-Christmas, right? You know, we're going to see a lot, you know, it's not going to be across the board, but it's going to be a lot of things where, you know, you might even see like a pair of shoes that maybe it was, you know, normally it's $100 and you're going to see it going for 300 because there's just no shoes being made. You know, and it's, again, across the board, depending on the category, it's going to be like that. So, all right,
I've never touched a pet product in my life. Like I've just, you know, 49-cent cat food, who cares? I'm not messing with it. I've been in Walmart looking, you can sell some 79-cent pack of 12, you know, they're 79 cents each. You get a pack of 12 of them, you can turn around and flip them for $48 right now. Given the right brand and the right flavor, you know, I mean, these cat and dog moms, they don't care. They'll pay whatever you want, you know, as long as little kitty has, you know, this particular flavor.
Yeah. Hey,
crazy.
Absolutely. And there's, we're going to see that. And these, you know, the mom and pop places are not going to be able to get what they need. And, you know, maybe they can get it, but maybe it's on a 1 month delay. You know, like so many things. So let's go ahead and jump back into this slideshow here. So we got to watch our Amazon check-in times. We already talked about that this morning. Watch your listing delivery times, send smaller, more frequent shipments. So the watch your listing delivery times, that is if you're merchant fulfilling. And so, you know, you need to watch, you know, like, okay, are you doing expedited? Are you doing 2-day? You know, getting those items in and out the door, send smaller, more frequent shipments for sure. That's definitely going to help you in terms of not having to ship it to a distribution center, right? That's going to slow your check-in times. And most of because I'm wholesale, we're sending in pallets of inventory. So a lot of our stuff does get sent to that distribution. And then learn how to merchant fulfill. So, you know, we're really not digging into it too much. We do have a ton of training. We don't have enough time tonight to do it, but there's a lot of training on merchant fulfilling. So if you're going, I want to merchant fulfill, I don't know how to do it, I promise you it will be worth your time to come to our group and see that. So we actually have a webinar that we recorded on merchant fulfilled in meltables. So merchant fulfilling meltables during the non-meltable season, right? And I think, is it October?
October 15th, I think.
October 15th, yeah. So right around the corner. Send in
chocolate again.
Yeah, so that's, you know, always great to be first to the punch with that. But outside of that, like if you had chocolate right now, you could be selling that on Amazon and shipping to the customer, you know, on ice, obviously, depending on where it's going. So that course is available in the group. this webinar, stale inventory webinar, super good on, you know, how to get rid of your stale inventory on Amazon. So setting up some coupons and all those things. And you can see somebody posted a screenshot here of taking action on that webinar, and then look at their sales, how it just went straight up because they were getting rid of that dead inventory that's just been sitting there. And you all know, hopefully, about the IPI score. You know, that is a super big deal, and sell-through rate is vital. And so you want to be getting rid of that stale inventory for sure. Gift Card Ninja, super great webinar on if you're not using discounted gift cards. Now, Walmart and Target, those are more difficult places to get that, you know, larger discount off. But there was once upon a time where you could get 20% off at Marshall's, and that was a glorious season of retail arbitrage. But do y'all do many discounted gift cards, ladies?
I do. I buy, Target actually comes out with some good ones. It's always usually at bare minimum covers the tax, the sales tax, you know, but they'll be anywhere from 8 to 12. But when you couple that with Target Circle deals for another 15% off, and the buy two, get one free, so that's another, you know, 33 1/3% off, you know, I mean, if you stack all those, I mean, Target basically just gives you stuff. They give me stuff all the time. They're here, take it, you know.
And Victoria,
they just won't let me order it online.
That's right. Yeah. So if you got a Target account that you want to sell, call Meghan. She'll probably buy it from you. No. So that discounted, the discount stacking is huge, right? Like what you're talking about. Again, that's like going that extra mile versus like, oh, I'm just going to walk into a Target and hopefully I'm going to find something on clearance, maybe. And, you know, hopefully I can get it. Or you can do your homework like Victoria said. And this is in our Target webinar where she kind of unveils all the stacking and things like that of how you can go from, you know, a gift card of 10% to, you know, all these other deals. So, oh, am I still available or is my internet down? Am I skipping?
Nope, you're here.
Yep.
I'm here. Okay, great. All right. I'm not going to sit on this too long. We have helped a lot of people that have come through over the years. We got some great things on our website as well. So we have 28, and I'm not even sure now how many. I think we're 30 plus over on our learning units that we have. And this is all in our private Facebook group. So you can go into a private Facebook group and go into these all these learning units and see everything that we have produced over the years. So live sourcing at Kohl's. Let's see, we got Black Friday tips, new seller tips, kind of bouncing around. Raise your ROI with Jeffrey Clark, how to source shoes and clothes with a restricted Amazon account. So really good stuff. We got 33 videos. You do not have to share leads in our group. That is something that is how kind of separates us a little bit from other Q4 groups. You don't have to share leads, but if you do, and it's a good lead, and we share it with our community, then we pay you for it. So that is a bonus. So you actually get paid to share leads in our group. So I'm gonna answer a few questions here, but this is the price. So you could join for 3 months. We also have some other options for a month or 6 months, but it is $4.99 for the quarter. And so you get all these awesome things that we talked about. So you've just got to hang out with us three, and we are in the group answering your questions and doing all those things. As many as other deal posters are in there as well. And so there's a few other things that I wanted to chat about. It's about 7 o'clock. We didn't get to all of it. We got some other questions here. One of the things that I wanted to chat about was our restock limits. Oh, hold on, I'm not doing my job right. How do you join the group? We're going to do Q&A here in a minute. Let me stop my share. I'm going to drop a link in here so that you can join our group here. You can go to FBAinsiders.co. Man, I really prepared for that one, huh, guys? here's the link if you would like to join our group. So you will, once you purchase, you'll apply for the Facebook group. We'll let you in. But yeah, so it's $500 for the quarter. If you don't want to do the quarter, it is, man, I'm the one that set all this up, and I'm like, don't even know what price is. $497 for the quarter. You can tell that I focus much more on the content than to do the price of this thing. $197 for the month, or if you want to join for 6 months, it's $897. And so give you some different options there, different discounts. Definitely our most popular is the quarter. And so in the beginning, I mentioned we got $3,000 just in training, right? Like, again, you don't even have to listen to his talk or look at the leads, just in the training that's there. And then in addition, we have all this. Now, there's a few things that were not on those slides. One of them is a private messenger chat that we're going to be launching, where you'll get those last minute deals, right? Those last few things where, Meghan's in the store and she's like, oh man, we just hit the jackpot. And she's just going to screenshot, and just drop them all in there. And then you can go and snag them. They're not even going to hit the Facebook group or hit the website. They're just going to go right in there. And am I forgetting anything, ladies? I think that's pretty much it. Any other features or surprises that we had? I think that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Any questions about the group? Please ask them now. Let's go ahead and address some questions here. I think David mentioned one on how do you manage
expiration dates?
Yeah, expiration dates. Yep. What do y'all do for those?
I put them into Inventory Lab when I list things, and I always just kind of assume that it would get pulled or whatnot. After that, like, my listing would go dark. It doesn't. And I only know this because after 4 years, I got my first customer complaint on something came and it was expired. And I looked at the product. It was like, that probably would be. I mean, I haven't sent it in for forever, but how Amazon just like randomly finds something and adds it back to your account. I don't know where this thing came from, but I took the blame. I owned it. I refunded them. No big deal. But I have been looking into ways of being able to catch expiration dates. I haven't found a great one yet, mostly because I know Amazon is supposed to do first in, last out, stuff not like that. First in, first out. But I don't know their process and making sure that happens that way. Mm-hmm. So I need to do more research on what their process is, and then I can formulate my process around that.
Awesome. Good answer. There's one other thing that I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but we are going to be doing 2 webinars a month with some live sourcing videos as well. I don't think that was in the slides. I'm trying to make sure that you know everything that you get yourself into whenever you come to join. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about it. And, one thing that we haven't done before is that active messenger group. And sometimes those can be, if you've ever been in like a large WhatsApp, you're like, oh my word, turn off the notifications because your phone's just going to blow up. But these messenger groups are really great because you can search them and see all those things. The group does go live October 1st in the sense of all these things that I'm talking about. The group is currently active. We've been active all year long, but our Q4 kickoff is October 1. So yeah, we're excited to see all of y'all in there. Any other questions about the group, please post them now. And while y'all are doing that, I'm gonna answer another question. Given this is a different year, does vintage Keepa data help to project back to normal trends? It's a great question, David. Megan, how would you answer that?
This is my thinking silence.
So given this is a different year, does vintage Keepa data help to project back to normal trends?
Well, I don't think we're back to normal. That's the issue. And we weren't normal last year. And so I think that if you, I think if you have a product that goes back 2 years, right, you can see 2 years ago when we were normal, and then you can see last year, and that'll project. I think that'll tell you where we are from a stock projection, or like what's going to be in stock. But I think last year's Keepa data will be really informative of what's going to happen this year, because we do have supply chain issues. You know, the Delta variant has people concerned, and people don't want to go out. And so I think there's going to be a bigger reliance on, and we're even seeing it right in the OA world, right, where there's just not as much stock anymore. And so I think Keep is going to show us an even bigger spike this year in the prices. Victoria, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah.
I agree that, you know, I mean, to go back a year, last year wasn't normal either. So I think it'll still prove to be a valid trend. I also think that, you know, we don't really have anything else to go on. So that's, you know, it's always going to be the better than nothing or better than hunch, I would imagine. But to go back, I mean, even in OA, I mean, I went on Walmart today and it was 9:30 in the morning. People should be at work. I don't know what they were doing, but I got put in a waiting room already. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You know, it's still September. So, you know, it's crazy out there. Just finding stuff and whatnot. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but I love the hustle and, you know, the running and the fun of it. So I'm kind of giddy about it, but yeah.
I love the camaraderie, right? I love the Facebook groups where we start shooting things back and forth.
Sure.
And I like to be able to bounce off. Hey, is this a good buy? Right? Is this, I mean, I still ask Victoria questions all the time about, hey, what is this going to look like? Right. And then the other thing is I go back, and if one of our fellow leads posters has posted it, I go back and study that. Well, what did you see there? I'll go back and ask the question. And I think that's one of the this group, right, is there's such knowledge and there's so many, the skill level is so different, right? And then where everyone's coming from is so very, very different, right? Some of us are doing this full-time. Paul's doing wholesale. You know, I'm still a slave to the corporate world, but, you know, figuring out how to make it work. And so I think there's just so many models within this group. And this can be a lonely business.
It can
so
be.
Having people, I think, is super important, especially in Q4, because otherwise it can get really overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've said that probably for 2.5, 3 years straight. You know, people are like, oh, you know, how did you become this? Or how did you, you know, find the products that you do? And it's like, it's never about the products. You know, there's always something to buy. You know, it's never been about the products. But I made friends with people who were smarter than me. And they kind of, as they came into their own, I came into my own. And now people, you know, coming in newer, I can pull, you know, you pay it forward. And the group is so diverse in who knows what. And, you know, if I don't know something, I know who does. So it works out that way.
Yeah, that is so true in terms of, like, you know, having such a wide variety of people in here. Somebody's going to know that answer, you know, where, you know, when you are going it alone, it just makes it so much more difficult to figure out. And, you know, you make friends for years, right? Like, you think about how all of us met, it's like in these groups. And I've been in other Facebook groups, same thing, where it's like, when you start throwing yourself out there and getting to know others, and a lot of it's trust, right? But, like, even if you're learning, you know, one of the biggest fears I think a lot of people have, it's like, oh, if I post this lead in the group, or if I share it with someone and say, hey, would you or would you not buy this lead? You know, a lot of people get really shy about that. The people that I've seen that do that become very successful because they don't have this limited mindset. They have this abundant mindset where it's like, hey, I'm here to learn, and that learning equals power, and I can go and, you know, and apply that knowledge. And so, you know, look, we've all been doing this for years, and, you know, this is our second year dealing with COVID. And I find it interesting, the phrase of, you know, back to normal, or, you know, what we were used to before the pandemic hit. it's challenging, right? Like we're always going to be dealing with different challenges, but as entrepreneurs, business owners, one of the biggest things that we have to have with this is a little tenacity and grit, and embrace that change versus just say, I'm just going to throw both hands up and just surrender because I don't like change, right? You know, if we didn't like change, none of us would be selling on Amazon, because they change
every day,
right?
By the time your stuff hits the warehouse, there's been a change.
That's right. Well, I'm excited. We got a few people that are joining the group right now. They are not waiting. They're taking action. They're jumping in. I'm approving them into the Facebook group. So I'm excited. If you want to watch this again, or, you know, if you know somebody that was going to be here and they couldn't make it, this has been recorded. We're going to be emailing this back out to everybody. You know, I say we shared some gold tonight, guys. I'm excited. And, you know, in this COVID world where many of us are just like sitting in our homes so much, and we're not getting to see people, this like little Zoom event, right? Like, we're not physically together, but this inspires me to be like, okay, I got work to do, you know, in regardless, whether it be my prep center or wholesale or OA or RA or whatever. Tonight, I was actually showing my 5-year-old, and say what you want about this, but I was teaching her how to use my iPhone to scan products. You know, and she was like legit, you know, I grabbed the Lego set off the top shelf and let her scan the barcode and teaching her what profit is, you know. So this business is really fun in all facets, right? Whether it be doing it for fun or for profit, right? I think it can be good. One thing we didn't really talk about tonight, and I'll kind of end with this, is when you are out, definitely be generous, be kind, be courteous. I cannot tell you how many deals I got or good things that happened because I walked in with a stack of $5 Starbucks gift cards and handed them out to people that were helping me at the Walmarts or the Targets or wherever. And it's just that generosity. It says a lot in today's climate of me, you know, mentality. And so I encourage you to do that when you're out. Ladies, y'all have anything else you want to add?
It's going to be a great Q4.
Awesome. I think
we
so
look
too.
forward to working with all of you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank y'all so much for jumping on. Everybody have a wonderful night and an awesome Q4. We'll be in touch.